capital injection that goes into the digital assets ecosystem as a result of stables is enormous. I think that you're looking at probably an industry going to $15, $20 trillion because of what this does.
The Bitcoin price nears new all-time highs again as we await a potential breakout, and the broader altcoin market finally showing signs of life as Donald Trump is expected to sign the genius bill, the Stablecoin Act, which he has not signed yet, but will take the current crypto market, which today is around $3.4 trillion market cap in total, release the floodgates and usher in a new wave of money.
Probably an industry going to $15, $20 trillion.
This was already submitted to his desk with the full backing bipartisan of Congress.
First and foremost, I don't think it should be lost on anybody. We haven't had bipartisan legislation move out of Senate banking and actually get passed since 2018.
This is massive for Bitcoin, massive for Ethereum. Also, Aptos is on fire. Watch today's whole video. But the cryptocurrency market is really going to have a tough time thriving if traditional markets don't also thrive. That's just the truth. Well, the NASDAQ just hit an all-time high. The S&P 500 just hit a new all-time high. Veteran investor Tom Lee explains why it's not over.
I think that it is appropriate that we are making new highs because the fundamental and the visibility is better now than it was in February at the old highs. And I think there's three levers that are going to get pulled. One we know is that the Fed didn't unleash liquidity at the April lows. So we have a Fed that's been on hold and tight. But if the information and the data comes in dovish, that's 12 to 24 months of Fed liquidity and dovishness. That hasn't happened yet. The second is that I think that there is a false argument. People are saying the multiples are stretched. The PE should be expanding because we've now had 5 stress tests that companies survived. They survived COVID, they survived the bullwhip effect, they survived the inflation surge, they survived the Fed fastest hikes, and now they survived Armageddon. If you don't have 5 more episodes, multiples will be higher 2 years from now. And the third is that I agree with anybody who says that, look, we've kind of reshaped some of the economic flows around tariffs, but that's an upside story because if it plays out better, that's an earnings surprise. So you have 3 levers that tell us that 6,200 is the market beginning to recognize we're in a better position while $7 trillion cash is on the sidelines. And I can tell you, our clients, institutional clients, remain very skeptical. This is the most hated V-shaped rally.
So for all those reasons, the upside remains, and we're already seeing money start to flow into quality altcoins. The first Solana staking ETF hit 12 million in a healthy first trading day. So this is the very first Solana staking where you can stake in the ETF in the United States. And the Rex Osprey Solana staking ETF debuted on the CBOE BZX exchange on Wednesday, recording 33 million in trading volume and 12 million in inflows. Now with this ETF, by putting money into it, you not only get direct exposure to spot Solana, but also staking yields, making it the first crypto staking ETF to be approved in America. Peter Chung of Presto Research explains Solana demand.
I think one good kind of gauge to look at to assess the demand level for this type of altcoin is to look at the so-called the global ETPs that exist outside the US and in places like Europe, for instance. So in the case of Solana, globally, there's already about over $1 billion worth of AUM under these ETPs outside the US. So that's always a good indication, I think, for US listed ETF, for something like a Solana, for instance. So the demand, I think, is there.
And speaking of demand, we are seeing that with Aptos. Number 1, Bitwise has filed amended S1s for their spot Dogecoin ETF and their spot Aptos ETF. Very good sign, as this indicates SEC engagement and tracks with other spot approvals. So an Aptos ETF is likely coming, and always look for the signal. Aptos Labs CEO Avery Ching joins CFTC Digital Asset Subcommittee. This group is tasked with providing guidance on the rules governing digital assets. The chief executive officer of Aptos is in the room where it happens, advising on this. And many of you were asking me about this. The Aptos improvement proposal, meaning an upgrade proposal, to deploy Aave version 3 on the Aptos mainnet has passed. Meaning if you're bullish on DeFi, blue chip DeFi, that's expanding to Aptos, and Aptos is actually sponsoring this segment of today's video for their biggest news yet. Aptos Labs and Jump Crypto launch a Web3 cloud storage layer. So this is big. This has the potential to take on AWS, Google Cloud, etc. Of course, this puts the power back in the people. It's distributed, it's decentralized. And Shelby launches, it's called Shelby, amid surging demand for cloud services driven by the rapid growth in global data storage needs. And as they describe themselves, where others store, Shelby serves, meaning this is how Shelby is different. It is the first decentralized hot storage network being built on a dedicated fiber network designed for content streaming, AI inference, and real-time apps. So fast like Web 2, open like Web 3. And in layman's terms, why I think this is something we do not have or we need to have in the market today is because this is monetizable, meaning built for developers to thrive. It's monetizable. It's also chain agnostic, meaning if you use Ethereum, if you like Solana, if you like many other blockchains, this is still compatible. And it's built for data-rich use cases, including streaming video and artificial intelligence. Always more to talk about. I'm going to follow to stay informed and link down below if you want to continue your own research. And I want to leave you with this, because while Bitcoin really started this cycle's bull run, like always, Bitcoin always leads the crypto market. I think Ethereum is about to lead the beginnings of altcoin season. We see right here, and this is just for perspective, Ethereum is more scarce than Bitcoin in terms of yearly issuance since the merge, which was an upgrade that happened years ago. Ethereum's inflation right now is 0.105% per year, while Bitcoin's is 1.347% per year, and Bitcoin is more scarce than gold. But Ethereum, the more you use, the more network activity on the Ethereum network, the more ETH is burned, and the more scarce it becomes. We are seeing more publicly traded companies start to accumulate in high degrees. New SharpLink will ring the NASDAQ closing bell on July 7th. We are celebrating our emergence as the world's largest publicly traded company to adopt Ethereum as a primary treasury asset. ETH isn't just part of the strategy, it is the strategy. We know Tom Lee just became the face and chairman of a company buying up to $250 million worth of Ethereum, meaning this is signal if you're an Ethereum holder. Tom Lee explains why on Coinage.
I like the Bitcoin treasury model. MicroStrategy is really the blue chip of that. But what makes MicroStrategy attractive is that he's accumulated enough Bitcoin. You know, he's accumulated almost 600,000. That is so much Bitcoin that he has what I call a sovereign put, meaning if the US government ever wants to create a Bitcoin reserve, well, they can either try to buy 1 million Bitcoin in the open market, or they'll buy MicroStrategy at a huge premium. So there's no way MicroStrategy should ever trade at net asset value. And then because of the volatility of Bitcoin, MicroStrategy in turn can use the capital markets to raise money at much reduced cost. Like if he held Bitcoin, it'd be very expensive for him to borrow money to buy more Bitcoin. So if you own MicroStrategy, he's working to give you more Bitcoin per share every day, and actually at an efficient cost. So over time, you're owning more Bitcoin, so you benefit from the Bitcoin going up, plus he's getting you more Bitcoin per share.
So point is, subscribers of Altcoin Daily were ready for this. We told you that Ethereum is still a coin to keep in your portfolio, at least I was keeping in my portfolio at the beginning of 2025. Signal like this tells me it's not too late. I mean, this would be like thinking when Michael Saylor first announced he was publicly buying Bitcoin back in end of 2020, 5 years ago. Was it too late? No. If you took a long-term perspective, you were early. By the way, anybody that wants $100 near instantly, Literally $100 you can use to put into Ethereum, put into Bitcoin, check out exchange partner WEEX, and sign up with code Altcoin and get a $100 bonus and VIP 2 status instantly. $100 for each member of the Altcoin Daily audience, limited time, and news out of ChainGPT. We're teaming up with Cronos Chain for an epic AI NFT contest with a jaw-dropping 100,000 Crow prize pool. If you're bullish on Crow, you'll like this. Unleash a chain reaction of creativity using our AI NFT generator and turn your wildest ideas into digital masterpieces, meaning make your own NFTs with AI. And even better, creating NFTs is now cheaper than ever thanks to Cronos' 10x gas fee reduction and 10x transaction speed increase on their EVM chain. Minting has never been this affordable and accessible. Cool to see ChainGPT and Cronos teaming up. And like always, I'll see you tomorrow.